ready to go? Start the December meeting for the Park and Rec Committee. Can we get the roll call, please?
Member Hunter,
Present.
Chair Key,
Here.
Member Keller.
Here.
Member Merrill,
Here.
Member Robertson,
Here.
Vice Chair Robinson,
Here.
Member Rozier.
Here.
Council liaison right now.
Okay. Okay. Are there any public comments?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ken Frederick. I live in Linwood, been here 30, 40 years, I've lost track. And I'm a member of the environmental committee and also the senior task force. But I'm speaking as me only, so this is off the record, I'm not as easy as those. It has to do with the interface between the town and the committees. I'm trying to figure out, when I read what the committees are supposed to do, what things are brought to us by the town and what aren't. For example, recently, the town decided to spend $181,000 putting EVs in the town. It was a grant from the Pacific Green Clean Energy. And they decided where to put it in the police department and over in Public Park. And my only quest to our environmental team was, before you made that decision, why wouldn't you just run it by the committee? And say, hey, we got $181,000, we're supposed to put it in the best place we can, give any recommendations. That we just might have had different recommendations of that. And the same would have been true, I think, for you guys. Maybe would you really want four more, I mean, I'm off track, maybe it's more, EV chargers in the park, taking away parking spots, when in fact, there's no one works on it. I mean, I don't understand why we do that, but that's not the point. The point is, it never came to you guys, to my knowledge.
Yeah, I don't think it came to us for it.
And that, to me, that's the question. What should come to us? What should we be hearing? The other one is, we're here later, the discussion about hiring a marketing person for the pavilion, which I'll talk about the pavilion when we get to that point. But for that, again, have you guys been involved in hiring that marketing person, vetting them? No. Wouldn't the residents want to do that? And then lastly, another topic, which is, I think I would like to propose that the committees start talking to each other. And possibly even have one day a year, coffee, lunch, something, with other committees, where the committee stands up, here's who we are, here's what we do. And see whether there's any synergy between them, because there is, and we don't talk to each other. One in particular is we as an environmental committee, I can speak in that case now, have recommended to the town to do a demo trial in Holden Palmer Park for all battery operated landscaping devices. To pick a day, a week, a month, whatever, and put something together where they can show all the different landscaping devices, which are all battery, beyond what we use today, and let the town see whether it makes sense for Bright for you to use it, and whether the residents would use it. So just to say, we're stepping on your toes, because we made that recommendation to do something in the park, which you should know about. But it's not been done yet, because the council has to vote on it. You should know. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, next item is the approval of minutes.
Can I comment on his comment? Or do we do that later?
You're not really supposed to, but
Okay, that's fine.
maybe you just want to pontificate about something?
No, I just was,
Okay,
I was gonna say, same story, different day, that, the committees get notice on various things irregularly, but I've only been doing this 15 years, so I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's a kind of tends to be a situation where we don't continuously or we get noticed irregularly if we get noticed at all on many of these things. Inconsistent, that's what I'm trying to say.
I will say the council and staff sometimes decide what gets sent to our committee.
Correct.
We can always, if we want, I can add it to the agenda if there's anything you as committee members want to talk about. Please send me an email, or if you don't have my email, ask Will to send it to me and I will agendize it.
You don't know it's already.
Yeah, I think what they're both getting at is that we don't even have the opportunity to know what is going on with the other.
We don't know what we don't know in many cases.
Okay.
And I don't know where the limits are, how you make a decision.
It changed, okay? It changed. 10 years ago, when I was on the committee before. They used to have ours give a recommendation
Yes.
as to what the decision should be.
Correct.
And so we would always talk about almost everything that was going to Canada to our group. That had to do with Park and Rec.
Mhm.
Now, since Robert has a much stronger role, he's going with stuff that we should be talking about, in my opinion, directly to the council.
Okay.
And then I asked the question about it, and he says, oh, I already talked to the council about that, and this is what they want to do.
It's a done deal.
And so I say, well, I guess that's okay if that's the way they want to run stuff, but if we don't do any recommendations on stuff, I'm just wasting my time.
We can ask.
So I'll stop right
I guess
there.
Bill's.
Yeah, Bill was supposed to.
We'll ask Bill when he,
You're exactly right.
about this one, if what the council, as the council liaison, what they want to happen for this, so.
Well,
It is
just to add is one thing, if you look at the role that we play, it basically says anything to do with the park is in our jurisdiction. So that may fit in. There's also some language that says we need to be requested to look at things, but that's separate. So anyway, I think that issue ought to be looked at. I agree totally.
Okay, but bring it up with Bill. Sick. Any other public comments online?
Nothing on
Okay. Minutes approval for November 5th. So those were submitted to you guys ahead of the meeting. Are there any changes?
No, approval.
Okay,
Second,
all in favor? Aye. Any abstentions or nays? All approved.
Aye.
Okay, regular agenda, pickleball. So does the subcommittee have any updates they want to report to full committee?
Walt, do you want me to do that?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, what I did is I reached out to, I Googled, tennis and pickleball contractors in the Bay Area, and found a bunch that came up, including some that were, better than others, it looked like. So I reached out to one that happened, I reached out to several, but I reached out to one that, we've apparently engaged with quite a bit, John Saviano. And he was listed as one of the top guys in the area. I also reached out to one called All Sport America. And they've gotten back to me and they've said they've done a lot of projects in Atherton, mostly residential. So they're ready, eager, I think, to talk about it. But I talked to Saviano this morning, and he said, I described it to him. He said he's done a lot of work already. You guys probably know that at the on our tennis courts, including putting in the clay court and doing some other relining. And I don't know whether he did the most recent relining or not, but he was very,
Didn't he? Yeah.
so he's very familiar with the courts. And he said he's done the Circus Club, he's done Menlo College, he's done Menlo School. So he looks like he's the biggest sort of creator of courts in Atherton. I described the project to him. And said, we've got to do some demo to get rid of the handball court. I think he was familiar with that area of the courts. He pretty instantly said, look, you got two choices. You either do concrete or you do asphalt. If you do concrete, it'll be about $100,000. If you do asphalt, it'll be 25% less than that. And I think he was basically saying you don't want to do asphalt. So I was pleased.
Is that per court or?
No, total.
Okay, so if we did two courts in the back area, he says it'll be 100K.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, that's off the top of his head, and I asked him whether it'd be okay if he and I or others would walk the property so that we can maybe stake it out and bring a measuring stick up. And he said, sure, he'd be happy to. I asked him how long it would take to get the project done. He said it probably 6 weeks because you have to let the cement cure for 4 weeks. I think he had a pretty good sense of what the project was. He described that you need 6 inches of concrete and rebar and stuff, and you need 3 different levels if you go with the concrete route. So I was sort of very pleased that that's the number that he gave us.
Don, is that Mr. Saviano himself?
Yes.
Will, didn't you have some talk with Saviano?
I had with one of his representatives, yes, but
Pardon me?
with one of his representatives.
And what did he say?
Yeah, he didn't think that, the person that I talked to before didn't think that he would be able to do what I talked to. But then after reaching out to talking to John, John gave me the same information that he thought he could do it, but he didn't tell me that he talked to you guys. This was on Monday, because I wanted to talk to John first, so, because we had found out he did the circus club and stuff too, so.
Dawn, thanks for getting that information from him, that was great, but did he do the current tennis, hard tennis courts surface the last time, you know?
I think he said he did.
He did, okay,
so.
because that one, fixed the courts. I mean, the courts are dramatically different from when he put that coating on.
He basically said our courts were kind of rough.
Oh, they were cracked, they were, you know, I'd bring some cutting thing along to cut the grass and stuff on the hard courts. I mean, it was stuff.
Because it was growing out of the cracks.
Weeds were growing up and everything. was
Not
growing
good
up
for
and
the game.
everything. They're pretty crazy. But they put that surface that they put on it and did some under that. And they have really lasted a long time in terms of cracking or.
I think he was suggesting we had asphalt as opposed to concrete, but I'm not really sure.
I don't know what it is, but sure it lasts a lot longer than the old course. Okay, thanks.
So, the next step in this would be to walk it off with him, if that's okay with everybody. And then the next step after that, assuming is maybe to get something a little bit more in writing, maybe not binding on his part, but something that says, you know, with the following criteria, it would cost approximately X. And I think based on Rick's commentary a couple of meetings ago, he said that the person that has been identified as a possible donor had said maybe 100, maybe 125 is what they were willing to do or think about. So, you know, maybe we got lucky.
Discover it.
Yeah,
You'll need probably a little overage.
yeah.
You can find a few more donors, or maybe the town might be willing to kick in to cover that overage piece of some unexpected costs.
So this,
I don't know about the town. You remember when this went to council? It actually, our recommendation was that be looked at as funded by pickleball players or their friends. And that was actually in what the council said.
Yeah.
That is, I don't think they specified they wouldn't pay anything, but they certainly were behind that concept. So it seems to me we do have a bit of a council approval to go ahead and explore this. And certainly we would ask for them. Don, I think, is aware of what Robert gave us as far as the different elements that he thought had to be done. And it was pretty complex. So I think we do need to be really careful with Saviano that he kind of understands the aspects.
Yeah.
Maybe very different than what he did at Menlo, certainly very different than the Circus Club, which was just flat, already prepared.
yeah, this is more complex, but hard to say until he sees it, yeah.
Okay, so will this walkthrough be done? We're probably gonna move our January meeting to the 14th, but do we expect by then we'll hear back, or we can wait in February?
I think I can get the walkthrough done soon.
Okay.
And I don't know whether anybody else would want to do it. I'll send a message.
Yeah, you can, just let Will know, and then Will can send all this, and anyone wants to know.
I'm sorry, Alex, what's going to happen on the 14th?
That's what I
Oh,
was gonna say.
Our original meeting for January was set for the 7th, but that's not gonna be enough time for Will to put together an agenda, because 2 weeks before that is Christmas week and the town shuts down, so that's when he prepares the agenda, make sure that everything is all set, but everyone's gonna be on vacation.
Sure.
And typically, we have our January meeting the second Wednesday of the month.
We'll
So,
get more detailed
yeah,
information
when we get to the end, I will,
on park performance,
And we
okay.
can vote on the date.
yes, we can decide, so an alternative possibility is just to cancel the January meeting. Because either the 14th or cancel it, which we can do, but it will make our February meeting very full, because we'll have a lot on it, because we have to talk about budget. Dorothy will do her African arts presentation.
In February or?
Normally it's January, we're scheduled for January.
I'll do it today.
But it's not on the agenda, so we can't talk about it. But, so I guess next month or February, whenever we have the next meeting, we'll hear from you, Don, and we'll find out when you tell Will when the walkthrough is.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions or comments about pickle? Any public comments about pickle? Nothing along with, nothing about that. Okay, great. Thank you, Don. 5B, Jennings Pavilion enhancements. Will?
Yes, so, last month I shared with you that I had met with, Coast Lighting and gave you guys the proposal, for the chandeliers. This month I was able to meet with the electrician. The cost to do the installation of the, chandeliers is gonna be about $6,000. But, on top of that, right now, that project's gonna kind of be on hold for a little bit because the town is looking into doing some upgrades at the Jennings Pavilion right now, which is including AV system, Wi-Fi upgrade, and some acoustic paneling, which could affect the way that the chandeliers are mounted or any of that kind of stuff. So right now, that's getting worked through, and as soon as those details are finalized, then we can start moving forward with the lighting.
Okay. The acoustic paneling is so that it would, drown out noise from exiting.
Yeah, right now, once we put the new flooring in, the carpet's gone, the noise and everything is becoming more of an issue, so they're looking into that, and plus we need an upgraded Wi-Fi and everything there too, so they're all looking into that stuff. So once that's all finalized, then we'll start looking more into the lighting.
And when's that expected to be finalized?
They're working on it now, and there's no tentative date, I just talked to Robert about it, so, Anthony, George, all those guys are working on that situation, so nothing's
Okay.
finalized.
Thank you, Will, for doing that, because I know with the IAVA and the Atherton Arts, we hired our own AV people to do everything because everything that's in that closet is basically obsolete.
Yeah.
And so, thank you for doing that, and also, just this week I heard with the acoustics of some women having a meeting there that it was so loud, you couldn't hear the person next to you.
Yeah, so that's why they're looking into everything.
Way to
to see if we
go.
can correct
And
that.
there's that big screen that just kind of hangs there, and I don't know if anybody ever uses it.
Yeah,
Cool, well, that's good news.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no public comment or any other.
I can public comment.
You have a comment again?
So we use the Jennings Pavilion on the 29th September for a large meeting of a senior task force on housing. And quite frankly, it was very disappointing.
Very what?
Disappointing.
That's what we're improving.
Well, the question is what's improvement and who knows what to improve? I would argue that I would not turn it over to the same inside staff people that did the AV and acoustics in this room. Over 5 years, we finally get something that kind of works. So I think the fact, it seems to me, again, you guys ought to be involved in that process. Just shouldn't be handed down to you. So our experience on the 29th was the following. Nice size works, you know, the layout inside works pretty well. Obviously, the lighting is gonna be improved, that'd be good. And as you were all saying, the acoustics with the hard floor need to be fixed. And the AV there was no Zoom, we couldn't do any kind of a Zoom. So everything on that list is absolutely the right thing to do. Again, my only argument is I'd make sure that you guys are involved in that, because if you see what's happened elsewhere, those things just have a long life that nothing ever comes out of it fixed. The other thing the biggest question I have though is, what's the role of the Jennings Pavilion? And we'll get into when we talk about the meeting size, but I'll also stand up and talk about, but my personal reaction is that's a place for the town and town members. It is not a money-making project for the town. We don't need to go just to wind up spending a lot of money on it and try and sell it to the outside world as a destination. Because that's gonna be really hard given what's out there and what we'd have to spend to do it. Recently, when we were doing this thing for the senior meeting and for others, we went out and looked at other places nearby and went to Menlo College. Menlo College has pretty good meeting spots. And they do all that based on a website they go to, which you just go to their website that they're part of, and you can configure it, get the pricing, everything else very easily. And so I think before we go out, a lot of money either changing the pavilion or even hiring people to market it, we need to understand what we want out of it. And if we're gonna try and make it a true destination to market it, we have a lot of money. And I just don't think, I personally don't think the residents would support spending a lot of money to have a money-making project inside the town that drags a lot of outsiders in to use it. Why? We don't need the money. We got a $24 million budget. It ought to be for the residents. And so the real question is, how can we get more residents like the Arts and other people to use it as much as possible? That's my point. I would not turn the thing over to town staff unaccompanied by you guys. I'd be part of that team.
Well, we are gonna talk about I guess the manager, the catering manager later on. So we'll talk about it then. I don't think we're in danger of turning the pavilion into a brand destination. I do think we need to make improvements to it because it is very dated. And so we've made some modest improvements. And I think it looks better. It's a better location for having town meetings. And we have some place larger than this for that side.
And we also had community activities there. I was into several wonderful things, such as the retirement of a mental Atherton teacher. Which, in my view, it's a community asset, and I think we'll get both. I don't think we've ever had a problem of forcing out any town activity there because we brought in outsiders. And as Alex says, we'll now hear about the outfit that will be bringing outsiders in.
So we also, Dorothy and I also spent time at Coast Lighting looking at the light pictures. I mean, it wasn't like we had no input on what was going on. And we came up with a series of them and then asked the question of which is the easiest to maintain and which is the most cost effective. And that determination was made with a conversation with the people at Coast Lighting, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, are there any public comments? No public comment, okay. So why don't we move to 5C, the playground and Chaplain upgrade?
I met with Robert a little bit this morning, just to get some updates. It looks like at the last meeting, the council approved the contracts for everything concerning the playground. So that's all in the works. I didn't get a start date, actually groundbreaking date or anything like that. So Robert will get that information for me. As far as the bathrooms, I think the subcommittee is still working on a little bit of the layout when it comes to the family bathroom and working out some little issues. So as soon as that's all completed, then the next step will be moving forward with that.
And the construction dates are not tied together, so we can work on the playground first and then.
Yeah. It's not, that's kind of where we stand right now with the playground.
Okay. Are there any questions? No. Any public comment?
No public comment.
Okay, if there's no comments from the committee, we'll move on to 5B.
So let's see. Robert, myself, IT, and Anthony, our deputy city manager, met with both of the companies, both of the catering / event manager companies, on last Monday. We did our initial interviews. They both went really well, both very great companies. Where we stand right now is they're kind of on different spectrums. One company is more low key, wants to keep it kind of smaller. The other company is wants to market hard and is more revenue driven. So right now it's going to be moved on to, there's a subcommittee that was just made that we were just told about, which includes the mayor and Bill. They're going to be doing a taste testing to just try to find out about the food quality and everything like that. But it's also going to be a policy issue to see what way they want to go with the council, how they want the event manager to proceed with it. Do they want something that's going to be more revenue driven or something that's going to be more low key and more maybe just company picnics and stuff like that, smaller venue type stuff. So that's going to be for the council to decide. But right now there was no recommendation because they were both on such different spectrums. that the council now has to sort of input
So-
aside.
I can summarize, the staff will have a recommendation, but council subcommittee will have them for the council.
Yes.
And then is there, for the committee itself, is there any involvement that is needed by us?
At this time, no, there's nothing. Right now, it's gonna be with the subcommittee. It's gonna meet with the tasting part of it, and then it's gonna be up to the kind of what direction the council sees this, event management going.
I'm sure there'll be questions from the committee.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Will, tell us what the terms are. Have they both agreed to the terms in the RFP? And could you summarize those for us?
you're talking about well, that's all being worked out right now within the RFP. I mean, everything was gone over and everything like that. The terms are different in both. I don't have the paperwork in front of me, unfortunately, to go over the numbers exactly. That's where it's highly different. So, what they want, the shares that they want, how they are looking at it is completely different. So that's why that is gonna go to council to kind of be looked at to see what the best fit is for the town.
So not only do they have kind of different philosophies of how they're gonna run events, but also the amount of share.
Yeah, and the pay structure and everything like that is a little different on both sides.
So the town has not, did not set the rules for what the share would be under the gas.
Yeah, in the proposal. So in the RFP, they brought back of what they wanted and what they, we kind of gave a guideline and then they kind of a rebuttal of what they wanted. And then it's kind of, that's where the decision lies.
Did any members get a copy of those responses that they made to the RFP?
They did I'll find out from Robert. They gave us an RFP back. It should be online.
And you're saying no?
I'm sorry, you're talking now about the feedback after they responded to the RFP, because that's online.
Yeah, that's online. Everything on there is online.
But there's more, even the further response they made.
No, there's no further response. The interview was just to go over what they responded to.
Feedback as the price?
So is it, well, is that correct? They have their proposals, that's online. So we could see how much they want, their prices, their pricings.
Exactly,
Okay.
although it sounds to me from Will like they may be trying to amend that.
No, they weren't, no, the interview was just to go over their RFPs and to make, understand.
Their
everything.
responses.
Yeah, to the responses and stuff.
Okay.
That's all it was, but the information's all online, the RFP and what they responded to.
And do both of them still say they will have somebody in person at the
Yes.
park?
Yes,
How many days a week?
2 days a week.
Two?
Two.
And would we then open up the office that we had
Yes.
before for them over there?
Yeah, they'll be there 2 days a week. And then they will also be there on all events. And, part of everything, opening and closing, doing check, all that kind of stuff.
If the RFPs are online and available to the public, can you send that link to the committee?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Let me
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see the differences in the prices.
Absolutely.
And just so everybody recalls, the provision, I think, in the RFP is, as we had in Cater 2, at certain levels of meetings or events, they have to use this caterer. So that's why it's important that we figure out, somebody figures out, exactly the quality, I think.
Yeah.
So that's why this tasting that's gonna be from the two members of the council, I guess, is relevant. But I would think the marketing would be just as relevant in what the ability is. But I'd be very interested to hear how they differ in saying they're gonna have big events. Because frankly, the way we open this up is we say, come to the park and you can have an event there. And here's our event person or the event people, bring them in. So I don't know that large versus small. I'd be very interested in how that's articulated.
And it goes back to what Ken mentioned, we've discussed it previously, is what is the goal? And do they have a revenue goal that they're shooting for? And obviously that would play into, depending on the responses, if one is more capable, you said one was a little bit more aggressive in their marketing.
Yeah, one is has more of a contact into weddings and bigger events where, revenue might be more of a, higher level than us, the smaller side of it. So it's just, it's more of what each company can kind of provide, where they have their inside information and able to market better in different places because of what they do now.
So will,
But the
is
council
the
didn't
Latin one the
stipulate
one that
whether-
would have the weddings?
Yeah, the Latin Fusion was the one that has more dialed into the bigger events and the weddings and everything like that, where the other one is more low key. They actually run the garden center over in San Mateo.
Yeah.
So it's more of a low key kind of, office party slash, smaller events and stuff like that, so.
Did the council stipulate any kind of a revenue goal? Is that?
I don't think so. I honestly can't remember off the top of my head.
Well, it is in there as far as the sharing and how much, everybody should remember, I know.
No, I know
do,
that, like. how
Weddings
this-
were a big deal,
The
for us.
structure.
Were,
and whether or not they are, but he said they are bringing in weddings.
venues.
I think it's changed.
I have a
Excuse
question.
me, could I just finish?
Mhm, I thought you were finished.
And you may remember that we prided ourselves on how much revenue was actually obtained through that park and how high our percentage of cost fit with the rest of this country. And Alex at one point actually researched that, and we were one of the highest. And so the more money I think we, in theory, that we can generate over there, the more we can ask the town to plow back into this. And that fits with my idea that we really need to try to do something with the carriage house. So anyway, I read all those together. When I hear this, I'm frankly think that there's no question which one replicates more of what we've done in the past.
Before I let Dorothy chime in, I will say my analysis was done for pre-COVID,
Right.
and things have really changed since COVID. I don't know if we could really make that extrapolation anymore, because people feel very differently about it.
No, it's a concept, not the, I was talking about the concept.
Yeah.
And Dorothy thinks there's no weddings.
No, I don't want to say anything about that. To me, weddings have changed, they're destinations now, they're not parks. But my question, Will, is, with both of these, bids coming in, who does the cleanup? Because you and I just saw today.
Yeah, that was all part of the RFP and part of the stuff
Oh,
like that.
so it doesn't put impact on Tony's or your,
Nope.
yeah,
No, there will be, that's all stuff that has to be discussed within the
Okay.
contract once we get it with them, but there will be a setup, a cleanup and all that kind of crew, it all depends. If they are doing the catering, they're usually doing the cleanup, if they are just managing an event, somebody else is catering, then that's a different situation that they have to work out, so that's all part of it.
When do they plan to make the council, when do they plan to make a decision? So the subcommittee of the council is gonna go to, do the takings and provide a recommendation. Is it gonna be in their mid-January meeting where they decide?
I'm thinking they're shooting for the mid-January, yeah, because I'm hoping that they're gonna do the tasting soon, and then that will be something they bring up in mid-January.
So it's possible this may be our only opportunity to provide input. There is one, so if I could bring it back to everyone here, we have limited information, but do we have a preference in terms of we want the more aggressive marketer? Which will probably will lead to more events, but more revenue for the town? Or do we want kind of the more passive marketer, which will mean less money, but it will mean a more park-like park?
So it's a smaller company, the company that's talking about, not the money so much. Are they gonna turn down people if they come in and wanna do something big? And will the large company turn down people because it's too small?
No, I don't think that's gonna happen either way. I think it's more of the aggression in marketing and where they're gonna be focusing at.
So they'll handle the same size.
They can handle pretty much
They can
anything that's
handle
out
the
there.
same size,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter who comes and wants to.
Yeah, no, they're not gonna turn away the work. It's just where the opportunities are gonna come from, most likely.
Okay, as long as we feel comfortable, they're both prepared, that's great.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want them turning down stuff because of the size of the event.
Yeah, I think the concern is it, do we want, the Jennings Pavilion to be overloaded with events every weekend and impacting the park? And, parking and so forth, or do we want a company that's, doing more of private company retreats and stuff like that during the week.
Okay.
You know, that kind of, so that's kind of where it stands. And like I said, that's where the council will have to decide.
But I think before the discussion, I'd like to open up for public comment, if Ken or anyone online has any comment on this.
Yeah, I'm actually a little befuddled by all this because I'm trying to figure out what the role of the committee is. We went through this with the environmental committee and basically said, don't make any decisions without us at the table. And that is, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And to have 2 council members and 2 staff members decide what's good for the residents in the pavilion and the rest of the park seems to me is inappropriate, and a couple of you guys ought to be at that same table. There ought to be a couple of guys sitting there listening to the conversation and talking about what the bid is and tasting the food. And the other thing is, I find it also inappropriate that you guys didn't get to your emails directly, both of those proposals. You had to go look and search for them. You know, searching on the website for the town is like looking for a pony in a haystack. So I would appreciate if you could send me the same notice of the proposals. Because as a resident, I'm not gonna dig everywhere for it, but I'd like to see it. Can I do that?
Yeah, I see what I can do.
Okay. Anyway. What do you guys control, I guess is my question.
I think we were given the RFPs and were asked for input, I believe. Maybe that was when an individual person was perhaps being pursued that was gonna be an event manager employed by the city or the park. But I don't know about I don't know what the structure is for our involvement, but I think Ken makes a good point about seeing everything that they proposed and then a greater body of discussion about exactly how Alex positioned it. Do we want the park to be aggressively marketed for big events? Or do we want sort of a lower key kind of thing with smaller events? Because it could be a big difference.
I mean, we can provide that right now. If there's a consensus among us, we can provide that recommendation.
Let me offer a thought. We've had very good marketers in the past, pre-COVID. We've never had jamming of Jennings Pavilion.
Yeah.
We've been lucky to get usage of that park. So this part about aggressive versus non-aggressive, to me, is a non-starter. That's just not the issue. I think the issue is how well can you use our park for the purposes for which we have had it used, which is events for anyone and everyone. Obviously, we focus on our own residents to give them an advantage. And secondly, at this point, starting this from 0, which is where we are, 0, we need the most aggressive marketing you can ever imagine to bring this park back to usage, in my view. So that's where I would stand. So that's my vote, I guess, is we take the people that we think can market and can do the job. The ones that are used to being there, used to cleaning up, used to being on site. Because this is going to be new for these people to come into Atherton. None of them neither have any background in that. So anyway, my view is you ought to look at it, unless the food's terrible on one side or the other, I think they ought to be exploring somebody that will benefit our park, will benefit our town, and will have proper usage of the park.
I agree with you. It's just a matter of what's the risk? I mean, having a good one that can handle everything and we'll go out and do some serious marketing, what's the risk?
Yeah, and if we don't like them, and the contract's only a few years or a couple
The
years.
risk on the small side is you don't get enough income.
But yeah, we don't know what the goal of the income is. We've never
You
been.
need income for.
Previously,
But
well,
no,
it's a different
Yeah.
council now, but it was make as much money as you can.
That's not very specific.
Well, back many years ago, Atherton was running deficits and had the need for the money. Now it's a different time.
Yeah.
There isn't that need, but we can always use it for pickleball money, right?
Yeah.
In case it's 125K, you know. we'll get that from catering. Yeah, I agree, the more aggressive, we'll give it a chance and see if it works, and they can figure out, things that are working and not working. and then
Unless there's
we'll-
something we see that's very negative about it, I don't see any problem with it.
What is their background? Because we
I
have.
don't even know their name.
Yeah, because the Lower Key one has worked within the park
You don't.
system and with the city in San Mateo, right, you said?
Yes.
So this other one, what is their
Yeah, we have
background? in
You
there?
gave us both the name, Latin Fusion, what's the other, or that's just the type, that's not the name.
No, that's their name, is Latin Fusion, they're the one
Oh,
that's
okay.
escaping me right now off the top of my head, sorry.
But regardless of the name, have they done this type of thing, catering, and have they done advertising?
They're more of a catering and hospitality group type
Oh,
stuff.
okay, so they're like a whole hospitality.
Yeah, so they're more of big venues and, kind of
Okay.
locations
So,
like
so
that.
they know what they're doing with
Yeah.
that.
But very unlike Cater To then in that respect. Very unlike the people we've had.
Our previous caterer,
You could always tell
his name was Catered To.
Oh, because the ones that I remember was one that was involved in
Dana?
barbecue.
Yeah.
And then there was the other one with Cassidy, was that Katie?
Cassidy was
Cater To.
catered to.
And they were pretty low key?
No, they were good, they
we're
were
taking
good.
everything they could get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, see, that's. I don't know how much I should say, because when we had that series of event planners that were from the temp agency, because I hang out at the park a lot, and they would come down and talk quite a bit. All of them said, if we wanted to make this work, we would need advertisement. The town balked at anything that they suggested for advertisement, if it was improving the website, which would be number one, having someone at the park full-time, going to wedding, meetups, like where the brides come and they
Trade shows.
choose all of that type of stuff, and I don't even know if they do that anymore. Cause it seems like so much post-COVID, it's all destination weddings there. I mean, I don't know when the last time I was invited to just a normal.
Well, there are still
Wedding.
people that don't have the budget to do that.
Right, but
Yeah,
I wonder,
sure.
but not necessarily in this area. We have to know what our audience is.
You could always tell an aggressive marketer to cool it, calm down a little bit if it's gonna be too
Yeah,
much.
it's too much
You
business.
can't take
That's
unlike you're gonna take the little one and pump them up and tell them that, I would say go with the aggressive one. If the Greenwich Pavilion is inundated with the Mongol herd hordes, then, we can back it off.
So was the problem back then, Dorothy, was
And this
there-
is
they
post-COVID.
wanted the
now.
town to fund kind of this extra marketing, or?
They never got an answer of what to do, because their hands
Okay.
were tied in many different areas. But they all had really good ideas of what it is to be done. That's why I would like to know some of the ideas that this aggressive marketer has.
Okay.
I mean, what are the ideas, what do they plan on doing? Because they can talk and talk
Well,
and talk, but give me 3 things you are going to do in the
Yeah,
next 6 months.
But there's only one choice of aggressive marketers, either the
Right,
passive
it's
guy
not
or the
like,
aggressive
yeah.
guy.
But I just wonder
Well, we
what
can
they,
work
what they
with-
plan on
We can-
doing.
But they'll come in, because
Yeah.
we'll have a caterer come in once a year, we can talk to them about what they're
Yeah,
doing,
like,
what they can do to
how,
improve.
yeah, how are they gonna do it when so many of, if you look at the audience, which primarily I would think would be San Mateo County.
Yeah.
Or within like a 10-mile radius of us,
Should
destination weddings.
Should we request that some of our committee members be able to talk to the caterer as well? I mean, we can,
That might be an idea,
okay.
is to have someone on the team or be able to have a list of questions that the council goes to. Because I would like to know, okay, so they're aggressive, how?
Well, I'm sure that both of these organizations, from a marketing perspective,
Yeah.
probably, they have to market their business.
Yeah. how do
Right, so I'm
plan
sure
on
they already
marketing?
have a social media campaign and there is an outreach. And the only other thing I would say is maybe we get away from specifically weddings and just talk about events in general.
Yes.
Both of these organizations, it sounds like, have to market their own business, so we can ask them what they do currently. And then if they have a plan or ideas for how to maximize it, then we could look at what their plans would be.
So the 2 companies, just to clarify, I have it on here now, is Cheat a Little Catering is the one that's from San Mateo. They run the garden center in San Mateo. Obviously, they have websites, they have their
And what's it called?
Cheat a Little Catering.
Say the first word.
Cheat?
Sheep.
No, cheat.
C-H-E-A-P.
Cheating on a test.
Cheating on a test.
It's a great name.
Cheating on the test.
That cheat.
Yeah, cheat
A
on
little
They need
finger.
some
Wish they'd
marketing
hired
for
me
that
to
name.
that's what they're
You'll
marketing,
see
because
it.
that's not a name I would have recognized.
They're not very good at marketing when they're that.
One
Like,
strike
cheat on
against
the
them
die.
already.
Yeah, they can't be
Unless
good at
it's like
marketing.
very bad.
Can't
Wait,
do
wait,
it.
wait.
Let me suggest this. We now have 4 people that are in favor of the aggressive one. But let's have our motion be that based on what we've heard so far, that we would favor somebody who will have a aggressive marketing, and we would actually prefer to meet with those people or at least be able to offer our views after reading the materials which are in the RFP and the responses.
What's the name of the second
It is the Latin Asian Hospitality Group.
Latin? Asian
Oh,
They
hospitality.
certainly have interesting
And
names.
where are they
they
headquartered?
do have enchilada names.
Are they on the peninsula?
No, well, they're south.
They're more south, yeah.
Their headquarters are south.
I'm
The other
only
one's
gonna meet with
headquarters
them
are
if I
north.
get fed too.
They're out of Campbell.
You'll see all that from the materials.
Who approves whichever one we pick, who approves that they can do a particular job or a particular project? They just do it on their own, or do we have somebody that has to look at it to see if?
It's whatever the park regulations are and stuff like that. There's regulations on size, music, all this kind of stuff that has to fit within
The
inside.
regulations made by us,
Yes, made by George. There's,
by
yeah,
who?
by George, our
So
city
George
manager.
has made,
Yeah.
really decides. to-
So there's regulations for the park where it comes to
Oh, I
music,
see.
sound,
Okay,
capacity.
all right. Okay,
So if I could suggest, we could make a recommendation as a group on the more aggressive. Who is the more aggressive marketing?
We have a
Latin,
motion
Latin.
pending. We have a motion pending.
Okay, we have the motion. We can also ask that, I don't think our entire committee needs to be involved, but a couple committee members, if there's, 1 or 2 volunteers willing to participate, I think that would be helpful and just everyone, I think any member of this committee can understand all our concerns and, after hearing this discussion, I think that'll be enough. So can we make that part of the
I
motion?
accept your amendment.
Okay, that's my long-winded way of asking to
Okay.
make an amendment. So we have a motion, and I think we have first, I'll second that.
Second.
Oh, you want to say, okay, Frank will second that.
All in favor?
All in favor, aye.
all right.
Any nays or abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Hopefully you'll be able to communicate that to, I guess, George and Robert, and then, do we have a couple volunteers who would like to?
I'd love to review their marketing plans.
Okay.
And the food.
What?
You gotta eat
I don't
too.
I'm not a foodie, somebody else can
Is there,
can do that. I'm more versed in the marketing part of it than the food part of it. So,
anyone else besides Julie, but wants to also be part of it?
Well,
Can I just say possibly? I got a,
you have a full.
yeah, I got a
Okay.
pretty small play, because I'm already drinking March's. I'm planning a March art show right now.
Well, did you want to?
sure, I'll be involved too, because I want to see this, and I know quite a bit about Cater too. I want to see how they compare.
So Julie and Walt, the alternate go.
Yeah, I would be happy to be an alternate.
Anything else on this topic? If not, we will move on to the Brightview assessment.
The Bright View vet, the QSA is in your thing. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Open it up for anyone who wants to point anything out. We'll discuss further. There's, I think we can move on to our Power Foundation report.
What do we got to report on? What do we have to report on?
Well, Foundation is very interested in how the town is keeping up the fountain, which the foundation paid for. It does have, Will knows, a little bit problem of whatever it is, algae or something every so often. And then in addition, the foundation, of course, is interested in what else might be done at the park. I think there's particularly interest, at least on my part, of what happened to the bathroom in the carriage house. That they were, remember, we were going to ask Will, the person who's doing the bathroom at the playground, to also see if they could do that?
Yeah, that was a different company. The one that got awarded the contract is a different company than the one that K and B, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they was gonna drop it in, it was gonna do it, we had to switch.
Yeah, exactly.
So, can you ask them?
Yeah, I'll have to talk to K and B. They wanted to do a kind of like an oversee of like all of our buildings and stuff like that. I'll see if they can
Great.
focus in on the carriage.
I've been looking for that for.
Anything else on the foundation? Any comments or public comment? Okay, we'll move on to park division and park event.
Not a lot of stuff going on in the park with maintenance wise. Been working on the fountain still, just trying to keep it clean as much as we can, purging it, cleaning it out, trying to keep it running good. It seems to be going good. The discoloration is still there. One big thing is we got the courtyard building fixed. The roof is all fixed, all that kind of stuff.
What happened to that thing?
The eucalyptus branch came off.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
it smashed through it, so. Nothing really else to report there. As far as event stuff, all the numbers are inside here. Wasn't a very busy month. We had a few North Meadows, Carriage House, and photo shoots. Revenue was up about like maybe $500 or $600 from last month. Tennis numbers jumped up a little bit on pickleball. Everything else is pretty much the same.
The photo shoot numbers was that Brightview or maybe not Brightview. In the past, it was when that company does a lot of our.
No, these were just different private little, they got little permits, yeah, they got a couple of little permits, yeah.
Because usually that's rare.
Yeah, over less than that time of the year, maybe Christmas cards or who knows.
No, but the fact that they get permits.
Yeah,
Usually
those do it, yeah.
They'll disappear.
So Will, if I read this right, there were 8 events and the revenue was $5,460.
Yes.
So they're paying, somebody's paying a fair amount of money.
Yeah, we did have a couple of events. We had some stuff inside of Jennings Pavilion. We had a big event inside there. We had a couple things in the Carriage House in North Meadows, some picnics and stuff like that.
I will observe that the revenue for events has been growing from fiscal year 24, 25, 26. So it's trending well, which is good. But it's not like overly high as it was in the old days, but it's still going upwards compared to previous years. Did we ever find out how much we charge class vendors?
I had those numbers for you. I'll have to get them back. I'll try to email them over to you. I had Michael pull a report for me. I forgot to grab it from him.
What vendor?
So there's events going on in our different venues, theater games, dog training, Player Capitals has meetings. And I don't know what we charge for those or if we make any revenue from that. Because, the revenue is not captured in any numbers we see here, but I see those events regularly. And we don't have prices posted on our website, so I don't know like. how much we
I'll get
charge.
that to you for the next meeting.
Okay, appreciate that, yeah. Is it gratis and we're not charging anything because it's a community thing or? I like to understand that because our facilities are being used and I've never seen it reflected.
And where do those take place?
Somewhere at the Carriage House, Main House, James Pavilion.
Okay, I'll
Last time we did a walkthrough of the interiors, I think, we ran into some of those classes.
Yeah.
So,
And Will, on Thanksgiving Day, there were 2 very large groups there, one playing soccer, and one having a football game. They don't really use anything other than that, but if they have more than 12 people, they're supposed to be getting a permit, right?
It should be.
Did they?
I don't think so. Probably not.
Well, and there's no one here on the weekends anymore to check on them.
Yeah.
Or
there's nobody
holidays.
policing.
It's just an honest,
you need to bring Andre back. What's that?
We drone.
Well, we do have the police. They're working 24 hours, so.
It's not our job.
Well, I'll remark, it was really nice to see. Thanksgiving Day was a beautiful day. It had been dry, so you didn't have all those muddy walks around. And amazing. There were pickleball players, 3 of the 4 courts were used. And so it was really what our park was really meant to do, I think.
Okay.
I'd like to address what I feel is kind of an elephant in the room. I noticed on this event, the Sunday activities at Main House and the Carriage House is not listed. And I noticed, all that mud on the floor and stuff in the Main House, that had to have been from Sunday. And it's not cleaned up.
Yeah, and I don't think it's from Sunday from what we,
Then it had to have been someone from Monday or Tuesday.
it was probably somebody from an earlier date and the AA groups that are in there. The reason we do that is for kind of like as a, not a security measure, but just as a consideration, we don't post it on there, but
Okay,
they,
okay,
but yeah, they,
but there's also some religious groups, I thought.
no, right now it's just the two
Coming-
AA, I
okay.
believe, yeah.
Because you would think they would have swept it when they saw it, that they
Yeah.
would have
That's,
tightened
that's
it.
part of my investigation, I have to
Oh,
figure out who
tidy-
did it,
tidy
what
that.
did it,
And then also this player capital class in the Main House. What, isn't that player capital, isn't that tennis?
yeah, so they're doing,
What are they doing in the Main House?
that's what they were doing before, they were doing some kind of calisthenic indoor stuff because it was cold outside, they had rented. And that's why we moved them over to Jennings,
And
but
now they're back in,
they have to go back because we have an event on one of those days for that
Oh,
day, just
okay.
for that one day
there's
or a couple
2
days.
days, a couple days.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be real honest too, I've taken all the art out and don't plan on putting all of the art in until there is an event planner there and we don't have kids in there and we don't have like calisthenics going in there. It's not safe. So I think we have to kind of decide what we want as a park and rec committee, how we want the park used. And what level of security is available.
Well, I'd like to find out how much revenue is being generated from it, and, well, I mean, in terms of security, I guess it would be, if we have an event planner there, then the event planner can make sure.
Right, but they're there 2 days a week, they said,
Yeah.
or
So-
if anyone is using the facility. So I would assume during Capital Tennis, they're there to watch so things don't get damaged. Because what's gonna happen when we have our brand new lights and all of the new AV equipment and all the acoustic panels in Jennings Pavilion, are we gonna want calisthenics with kids in there? These are the type of things that I think really need to be looked at.
So the event types.
Yeah, the type of events and where, why can't they be outside? It's beautiful still. They can do calisthenics out on the patio. They don't need to be indoors where there's artwork or AV equipment or acoustic sound panels that, I think these things need to be, addressed.
Do we have a policy on, what our venues get used for?
I'm not sure 100%, but I don't think there is anything, I mean, there's the classroom setting that was in there before with the children, there was a French class, they were teaching French, but you have a whole bunch of 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds running around, that's where the damage and stuff happens, so. The calisthenic thing, that's why I moved them over to Jennings Pavilion, just to have an opener space instead of a house. But, moving forward from this, this is only a short period of time, just for the next few weeks, so.
I suppose if it's gonna be more kids or maybe more active activity, I don't know which venue we prefer, that the Carriage House, I don't know. That can be.
But that's something to
Yeah.
investigate.
And that's something that I think the event manager, we can work out with them right now. Right
That's
now,
a good idea.
Michael's just helping out and trying to just fit in classes where he can and do what he can, so.
Because he's just there with the screen,
Yeah.
seeing what it is without investigating it. And he's been,
He's just filling in to help out.
and what I think we also need to understand is that when someone is paying for the facilities, they can kind of do what they want. We can't go and say, we have to be real careful because it's revenue to the town.
Yeah.
And I think we have to decide, what we want to showcase. Is it a beautiful location, or is it someplace that we have to go, or is it someplace where we have the right to say, this is unacceptable behavior in this room? And then it stops within 10 minutes, they're escorted out. These are things I think we really need to address before we start upgrading with really expensive things, especially in the pavilion.
Yeah. I can't think of a model where that would work unless you actually had a monitor there all the time.
Exactly, but if there's an event planner who is supposed to be there.
Well, the event manager
events
will
are
be there for the events, but they won't be there for every class and every.
It wasn't that in the, also just major events where they're involved.
Yeah, like a wedding or.
Yeah, but I think that there needs to be something in the contracts that say, because just the calisthenics class that was at Jennings
Well,
Pavilion.
there is deposits putting down, and then if there's damage, that damage gets taken out of the deposits and stuff like that.
But
As
but
far
then
as
that
like
doesn't
artwork
help
and
the
stuff.
artwork that's been damaged.
Yeah, that's where the insurance comes in, or the,
Yeah.
signing off, that's the liability of
Yeah.
having it.
Are you talking, Dorothy, about permanent
Damage?
art? No, permanent art.
Yeah, well, define the word permanent. Remember, they spent 20 minutes deciding what the word permanent was.
Yeah,
at the
but I mean,
council
is
meeting.
this, if
Yes,
it's
art,
only
I've
there
had
for
art
temporary
damage
time, we
that
can
has
work
been
on that.
donated.
Pardon me?
Art that has been donated for the upstairs art room, we've had one piece stolen
It'll stay
and one
there.
piece
So it's
damaged.
permanent, in other words, what you're saying.
Well,
It might be a revolving exhibit, but it's
Right,
not
yes,
supposed to
yes.
be taken by.
yeah, it's not
The
supposed to be
people
put
who are
down on the
visiting.
floor or knocked over or,
Well, I think certainly one.
or rooms are
put
supposed to be
everything in
kept
Jennings
locked
and
and stuff.
As
and,
much as we can,
if
we
it's-
avoid that problem.
If it's cheap enough, we could have cameras just running in the venues and.
And then that's
Recording all
another
the
whole
time.
thing with privacy is cameras, because we do
But-
have cameras here at the park now, don't we, Will?
Yeah.
We have cameras in certain areas for the outside,
Sure.
for
Yes.
police monitor, but it
I
doesn't.
mean, all these places are being hooked up with internet, so,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
could have it just
Inside.
record to a server and then we could see exactly what happened and all the, if you, it'll be a little pricey to set up, but
Yeah, but it's kind of, you know, with the privacy.
it'll be cheaper than hiring a person.
Yeah, but
Unless they-
these are things that
So who
need,
would-
I think need to be addressed before. we
If you see the
spend-
damage, you can watch the tape.
Yeah.
Who would police it?
No, if you, once the caterer could open and close the place and then do a walkthrough at the end of the day to see if anything's
Right.
damaged.
So it'd be,
Yeah.
it would be the person whoever.
Yeah,
It would be the event planner.
Yeah.
But I think the town or we should really set up something before we put in really expensive equipment in the
Okay.
pavilion.
Although yeah.
Everything from the walls, you know, because we've already had problems with the floors.
Oh, really? What's the problem?
In the art room, they buckled a little bit, but Will
Oh,
and I
okay.
come to that. They've separated upstairs. I noticed, some of it was kind of, there were bubbles and stuff in Jennings Pavilion when we were cleaning up.
Those things,
and-
it happens over time just because of the different
Yeah.
moisture in
Okay.
the air and
It's-
stuff like that, so they'll come out and repair that.
Yeah.
And then, our room was because of the stuff that you put down on the ground.
And the weather is going to affect it also, I would think.
So there, it will be,
But these are things that I think we need to stay on top of and be aware of before we sink a lot more money, because I even know that Will and I were gonna start looking for permanent artwork for Jennings Pavilion. When then we're into that same ball of wax.
Okay.
Could I ask you to take out of order, I have to leave, but could we vote on when our next meeting's gonna be?
Yes, why don't we do that now, because I think we're done. So it was originally set for January 7th, but it's gonna be a problem for staff to put together because the holiday break is gonna be 2 weeks before, and that's gonna be when they assemble the agenda, so January 14th, or we cancel it, that's the two options.
I can't be.
Let's have the 14th because we will have reports, and as you point out, February will be busy anyway with the budget. So we ought to have it in January, I
Well,
believe.
let's see how many people can attend
Yeah,
on 14.
so-
I cannot.
Is there anyone else who cannot attend?
The problem is I'm gonna have another absence and that gives me 2 absences, so.
Well, this is a special meeting.
Gosh.
Is that?
Okay,
That's
I know, I'm
okay.
just trying to.
No, no,
I
but
also have to clear to make sure that
Yeah.
there's nothing else going on.
because we're changing it, so it's not your fault, so
Okay.
you have an excuse.
It's all your fault.
Sorry.
Because you cleared out your schedule for the 7th and we're changing it.
Yes,
All your fault.
okay.
But it sounds like the 6 remaining members, it's okay, the 14th, okay. So let's
I'll
just
talk
go-
to Robert about it.
If it's okay. Anything else?
I move to adjourn.
I
So
second.
moved.
See you guys in 5 weeks.